apologies. But this, oh, what's going on? Hi, it's me, John of Birthstone Millinery, and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so last week, no video, I apologise. I had this kind of in progress, just wasn't working, so I decided not to upload, and I didn't have anything else kind of done, so I was like, so sorry. So this week we have November Birthstone Millinery, which is Citrine. So Citrine is yellow, so I went all out and I've wanted to do this sort of style of hat for a long time. Like, I wanted to do like a pancake tutu hat, and I'll put a picture of a pancake tutu on screen. So it's nice and flat. It's kind of graduated, looks really nice. Now, didn't manage to get the flatness, but this is this week's. It's massive. This is this week's hat. So this has, and then there's the back. So you get to see that as well. It's huge. So this has over 23. Didn't buy 23 meters. I cut the net down, but I had like 23 meters of netting to attach. So if you it was hard. So instead of waiting on, because I know sometimes I do at the beginning of these videos, I want to get straight into the video. So on the screen now should be timestamps for the entire video, so you'll be able to see all the different sections, and you can jump to them as you wish. So if you want to see how I made this, let's get started. First of all, I am cutting out my net, and I know I want 10 layers of the net, as any more than that and the crown will be too tall. If I was to use a soft tool though, you could cut more layers, as it's easier to sew closer together on the crown. The pancake tutu has a graduation from small to wide from the bottom to the top, so my strips will increase in width by 3 centimeters as it goes up the crown. I know my crown is 57 centimeters and I want it very fluffy, so the length will be 228 centimeters. That's roughly 4 times the length. I worked out how many strips I could cut from one width of fabric, and I worked out I would need 5 meters of the net, as it came in 157 centimeter wide. However, I did buy more just in case. So my strips ended up being 8, 11, 14, 17, 20, 23, 26, 29, 32 and 35 centimeters wide, with just 1 centimeter of this being the seam allowance. Once they were cut, they were folded and pinned with the width on it to make sure that each of the strip was being placed in the correct position. Next, I cut a length of lemon sinamay from Hatter's Millinery Supplies, and I cut it long enough to wrap around the block I was using and wide enough to have a little extra at the bottom of the crown. I actually believe I cut this, I think it was either 12 or 14 centimeters. The bio strip that I had was doubled, and it was folded at the top line, and from that I measured down, marking 1 centimeter between 1 and 10 centimeters using a pen, so I could see where my stitching line was supposed to be. Then the tedious part begins. Each strip needs to be gathered to fit around 57 centimeters. So what I did initially, I used a machine and did a very long loose stitch, but it was hard to gather, so I ended up doing this by hand. At one end I did leave around 3 centimeters ungathered to try and tuck this into the gathers when I put the hat together at the end. The gathering thread needs to be 1 centimeter from the edge of the net, as this is what we will use to ensure it's laid straight on the sinamay. As you can see from the change of clothing, this took me a while, but once it was finally done, I could attach it to the sinamay. The first layer, which was the widest layer, I pinned this to the sinamay with the seam allowance facing up, so with the seam allowance facing to the top of the crown. And I tried to position the gathering thread where my pen marks were from marking them earlier. And I sewed this down, placing my stitches over the gathering thread where the marks were. And every now and then I just adjusted the gather slightly so I could get the stitching into place. The second layer was done exactly the same as the first layer, but with the seam allowance facing down. And then I alternated between facing up and down as I went down the lengths of the net. What this will do is it will result in more hold along the crown, meaning the layers stay up and they're not drooping. This is something I learned from watching way too many YouTube videos on tutu making, and I'll link the first of like a very long series in the description box below. So while I am sewing that down, I just want to quickly talk to you about Patreon. Patreon is a service where fans and subscribers can connect with creators and contribute a small monthly donation in return for early access, for behind the scenes content, for exclusive content, for lots of different things. So if you are interested and you want to support this channel, I do have tiers from £1 per month, lots of different rewards for each of the different tiers, and you will get a shout out in every video and a special shout out on your first video after you subscribe. So that's one of the many different things, and if you carry on watching this video, you will see one of the other benefits of being a Patreon member as well. So thank you very much. Let's get back to this video. Links to everything Patreon related will be in the description box below. Okay, so after gathering nearly 23 meters of this net and sewing it all down, I've got it all sewn down. So as you saw earlier, I did actually have a pre-look, but I actually haven't looked to see if it works since, say, layer 3, and there's 10 layers in total. So we're gonna see if this actually works. So let's give it a whirl. Let's see if we can. Right, so it's curving a little bit there, but that's fine. We kind of need to find a center as well. Oh my god, it's looking amazing. Oh, wow. Okay, so let's just pin that to the block. I know I'm using drawing pins, don't kill me. Oh, wow. Right, so we need to just tuck that in. Pin there. Oh, wow. So, is this on? Oh, there we go. It's on the block. Wow. This is quite something. So let's just put a pin in there. Right. So it's definitely got a graduation, as you can see. So what do we do with it now? I'm not actually sure. And then what I'm going to do here is just overlay them as we go around, and then this top one I might attach together with, like, say a bead or something. Wow, this is crazy. This is a lot. This is even bigger than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so the issue now is, what do I do next? So I don't know. What I have already done is I've blocked this, so I've blocked the top, and I'm going to wire this, and that's going to sit there, but we're going to crystallize that section. Yeah, I mean, this is looking a lot better than I kind of imagined anyway. So it's quite big though, so I'm just a little bit concerned about this bottom bit. What if we did it that way? But then you wouldn't see the crystallized bit. I don't know. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wire this top edge. So I'm going to make a wire for this head fitting, and attach it into this top section here. Then, because what I wanted to do, because if you look here, there is a section there, and I was thinking of cutting it at an angle, but I think it's too big for me to think about cutting it on an angle, so I'm not gonna do that. So I'm gonna have a think. I'm gonna get back to this. Okay, so I've been playing around a little with this, and so this is what I've come up with. So I have some bias sinamay just wrapped, and I've just wired the bottom, and that's going to sit like that's going to be the inside, because here you can see all the stitches. I don't know if you can see that. You can see all the stitches. Can you see that? Yeah. Right. So what this will do then is this will hide the stitches on the inside. Right, so that's the back, because that's where the stitches are, and this is the front. What I've also gone and done is I have trimmed this down to 12 centimeters. So initially it was 10 with the stitches, and then 2 to have a lip. So what I'm thinking is, so hopefully this works. I really should have marked my centre front, and I haven't again. So let me just quickly find that. So that there is the centre front. Right, hopefully you can see. Let me just move this so you can actually see what I'm doing. Right, so that's my centre front. That's my centre front. So, like I say, I've got this extra 2 inches. Well, it's actually 4 centimeters, and it's folded over. So I've got like a lip, like a seam allowance, I suppose. And I'm going to tuck this into the seam allowance. Right, here we go. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like on the inside. So what it is, I've just extended this section here so it meets. However, that means we will see some of the markings. So somehow I'm going to have to figure out how to cover them up, but we'll worry about that later. Right, so what I'm going to do is, with this iron on, yep. So I'm just going to just blast some steam. And pull it onto the brim, onto the crown, and hopefully that will block the inside a bit better. Right, so we've got it on. Cool. Right, so that's I'm gonna leave that to dry. So if we can look here, you can see it's nice and neat at the bottom. Let me zoom in. So you can see it's it's nice and neat. It's got a nice edge. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and then I'm going to work on the top once this is dry. So here I'm going to trim. I might actually trim this and then somehow look at turning this over just to catch this raw edge here, because I think that would be, yeah. Actually, that's definitely something I think we should do, is go around and sew this section where the net is onto the second section. And I think that'll start holding everything together nicely. So it's just that extra bit of support. So I'm gonna do all this off camera, and then we'll have the sides of the hat done, and then we can start working on the tip. Off camera, I blocked a tip of the bowler section and I wired it on the outside. And then to decorate, I used some Citrine Swarovski crystal bicones and some of the net that was pleated. Once I'd sewn all that down and cut away any excess net, I pushed this tip into the crown from the bottom, as the wire on the outside will resist against the inside of the crown, and it will hold the tip into place. And I just kept pushing the tip until it was sitting exactly where I wanted it. I did want a little lip on the crown, so I didn't push it all the way up. And when it was in position, I just sewed it onto the crown, and I hiding my stitches in the top 2 layers of net. So I just pushed up the top layer and sewed between where that was sitting and the second layer of net. And then to finish, I just added a ribbon along the head fitting. So she's looking cute. Yeah, this is probably one of the biggest things I've ever made. I don't actually know, like, how. I don't even know. I'll put her there. Yeah, she can go there while we're talking. So yes, now that was. I've wanted to make something like this for a very long time, and I just haven't gotten around to doing it. And I thought Birthstone Millinery was the perfect time to do it. Now, one thing is, I noticed my arms are all kind of scratched from that net because it's pretty much plastic. So, you know, I'm kind of glad that that's over with. And it's definitely something that I would maybe look at doing in many different colours. I don't know, Like, I quite like the lemon. Like, it's a nice lemony, light pastel-ish. Oh, love it, love it. So 2 weeks ago I put out a video and nobody answered the question of the day. So I don't have anything for that. So this week's question of the week is, what was the very first hat that you ever made? Let me know in the comments down below. Mine was, what was mine? I made some fascinators, but they're not necessarily hats. The first hat I ever made, and I'll see if I can find a picture, was this blue, it was a blue felt taupe style hat. It was kind of slightly Peter Panish. It kind of came out, oh, it was really pretty. And I'd never blocked, that was the first thing I ever blocked. And so yeah, that was my very first hat that I ever made. Let me know yours in the comments down below. So I know you didn't ask for this, and I know you don't want this, but I've got merch anyway. This merch was supposed to be launching later on, but I thought I'd drop a few bits and pieces before the official launch. So I have "Hi, it's me" mugs, because you know everybody needs a mug. I also have "She's looking cute" hoodies and tote bags. And the thing that you definitely never asked for, and probably have never got a reason to buy, but I've still got them anyway, is some beautiful socks with my lovely mug on them. So all this stuff comes in many different colours, all linked in the description box below. And if you are a Patreon member, then you will get an extra 20% off any purchases from my merch store till the end of December. Check Patreon for that code, because it is only for Patreon members. So I'm so excited. This is like the 0.5 launch of merch. There's more stuff coming. It's not necessary that you buy it. If you want to, perfect. If you don't, that's fine. I'm going to be getting some myself to wear in these videos, so I'm looking forward to them turning up because they're so excited. And if there's anything that you want to see on merch, if there's anything that you think would be funny or like you want me to maybe look at, then I will look at that. Leave me in the comments down below. Links to everything will be in the description box below, as well as links to what I use to make the pancake tutu. Got inspiration for the pancake tutu, how to make. That'll be in the description box below as well. Thank you very much for watching. All my social media is listed there. It's going across the screen as we speak. I thank you very much for watching this video, and remember, my merch is available and my Patreon's available, so if you want to help out in any way, shape or form, thank you very much. If you don't, that's not an issue too. Massive thank you to Reggie, who is still one of my patrons. Thank you very much. Your support is always welcome, and it just helps further what I can do on this channel, because as we all know, millinery isn't cheap. So thank you Reggie, and I will look forward to seeing you next week. I think next week's video is either going to be a monochrome black and white and grey, because that's monochrome, or it's going to be like a monochromatic blue. Regardless, it's going to be monochrome. So look out for that, and I will see you next week. Bye.